All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to map out exactly how to mitigate your home's flood risks ahead of severe weather. Look, when the sky darkens and the local meteorologist starts sounding the alarm, panic is definitely not a strategy. Preparation is. So today, we're taking a highly structured, zone-by-zone approach to defend your property, literally from top to bottom.
We've got to start with the stark reality of those local weather forecasts. We aren't just talking about a light afternoon drizzle here. We're looking at severe storm cells, bringing 50-mile-per-hour winds paired with flash flooding downpours that can easily dump 2 to 3 inches of rain in an incredibly short window. That sheer volume of water, it fundamentally changes how we need to look at our homes.
Ouch. $20,000. That staggering figure represents the high-end cost for a full inside and outside waterproofing system. And honestly, it proves exactly why getting ahead of this is so much cheaper than paying for repairs later. Local experts point out that dealing with flood aftermath can run you anywhere from $1,000 just to patch a minor foundation crack, all the way up to this massive 20 grand number. Taking proactive steps today is, for sure, the best financial investment you can make.
To keep things simple, we're tackling this in 5 key zones: the flood threat, exterior defenses, the basement level, perimeter defenses, and finally, health risks and recovery.
Okay, Zone 1, the flood threat. You have to know your risk.
First things first, you absolutely must know if your home sits in a floodplain. Plan your evacuation route right now, and hey, make sure it includes your pets. The National Weather Service makes it clear that survival starts with situational awareness. If you're in a high-risk area, grab that weather radio and don't wait around to be evacuated. But here's the real kicker that catches so many people by surprise. Look at that bottom point. Standard homeowners insurance does not cover groundwater flooding. That risk, that bill, it's entirely on you.
Moving on to Zone 2, exterior defenses. Let's secure the outside.
Let's run through a rapid-fire checklist of things you can do right now. Think about the science of drainage for a second. Gravity is either your best friend or your absolute worst enemy here. All the rain hitting your roof has to go somewhere, right? If your gutters are clogged with leaves, that water spills directly down, well, actually, it cascaded right against your foundation. By extending your downspouts and making sure your yard physically slopes downhill away from your home, you're using gravity to your advantage. You're defeating that hydrostatic pressure before it can even build up against your walls. Oh, and with those high winds we mentioned, secure that patio furniture and trim those branches to prevent physical damage.
Zone 3, the basement level. Time to stop the hidden pooling.
Let's head downstairs. Remember, even tiny hairline cracks can cost $1,000 to fix, so inspect those walls thoroughly. Your basement is the lowest point of your house, so scientifically, it naturally acts as a giant collection basin for groundwater that's just seeking the path of least resistance. That is exactly why a working sump pump is non-negotiable. It mechanically fights gravity to eject that water. But pumps need power. If the grid goes down, you need a backup generator and 3 days of fuel, especially if you're somewhat isolated. And please, don't forget your crawl spaces. They can secretly turn into soggy, mold-producing hazards right under your living room.
Zone 4, perimeter defenses. We want to block the water before it gets close.
You cannot rely on the city to clear the storm drains on your street. You just can't. You need to get out there with a shovel, clear the leaves, and remove the debris so the water can actually drain. This boils right down to the basics of municipal drainage systems. They rely on continuous flow. If a drain is clogged, you've got a bottleneck. All that water rushing down hills suddenly has nowhere to go, so it backs up laterally, forging a brand new path right into your yard, or even straight through a doggy door, like one local homeowner unfortunately found out. It is on us to keep localized drains clear.
Now, if you're building a sandbag barrier, listen to the emergency coordinators. The biggest mistake people make? Overfilling. You want to fill the bag just below the tie line. This gives the bags enough flexibility to mold against each other, kind of like a giant puzzle, forming a tight water-resistant seal. Tie them securely so you don't lose the soil, and after the storm, keep them stacked out of direct UV sunlight so you can reuse them next time.
But what if the local distribution centers are totally out of sand? Don't panic, you can get super creative. Grab some polywoven bags from the hardware store and fill them with dirt, cat litter, or even water to block your doors. Basically, any dense material around the house can work as a barrier. Quick heads up though, if you end up using a water pump to clear out any pooling water around these makeshift barriers, check your local laws on where to legally release it. You definitely don't want to accidentally pump a flood straight into your neighbor's yard.
Finally, Zone 5, health risks and recovery. The aftermath. Climate reports show us that intense storms and flooding are becoming more frequent, and once water enters your home, the clock starts ticking immediately. Look at this timeline. 48 hours. That's all it takes for standing water to kickstart a dangerous mold issue. Within 2 days, mold is growing and releasing spores into the air. If anyone in your family has asthma or allergies, this translates into severe upper respiratory irritation, burning throats, runny noses. It's an immediate, serious health hazard.
To fight off that rapid mold growth, you have to be aggressive. You literally have to rip out soaked carpets and cut away waterlogged drywall. You can't just leave wet stuff sitting there hoping it'll magically air dry. Because of capillary action, water wicks up into drywall unbelievably fast. It ruins the structural integrity and creates this hidden, nasty breeding ground for mold right behind your paint. Drying the space out requires a heavy physical response.
Now, when you're looking for professional help after a storm, take a deep breath. Do not panic shop. Your phone's going to be ringing off the hook, but you need to verify waterproofing experts through the Better Business Bureau. Look for the established pros, who offer free inspections, free mold tests, and free air quality checks. You need objective data to see exactly what you're dealing with before you drop thousands on encapsulation or ventilation. We're going to leave you with this final thought. Because standard homeowners insurance is not going to swoop in and save you from groundwater flooding, these proactive, scientific, step-by-step defenses are truly your absolute best investment. Every gutter you clean out, every downspout you extend, and every single storm drain you clear is money kept right in your pocket. So take a look at your home today, map out your 5 zones, and ask yourself, if the waters rise tomorrow, are your defenses ready?